Thank you very much for this nice introduction. So the main group is PhD student. I think most of them we don't know personally. So I started my work in Institute in 2011 as a PhD student. So and I finished PhD 9 years ago. So I was one of you. And I also participate in such kind of scientific events. So it's really, thanks, Christopher. So it's really pleasure for me to be, to open the second day of this workshop. I know all of you are on different stages of PhD studies. Some of you are focused on preparing individual research plan. Some think about how to publish on time. So because it's the first scientific event in this academic year at the beginning, I also would like to wish all the best and not only to prepare everything on time, but also to find your own motivation to do it. However, now I will come back to the main topic. So today I would like to talk about multidimensional benefits of agroforestry in the face of climate change. Generally, agroforestry practice is described in different ways. It's called as an elixir for soil health, but also climate smart agriculture technique, a sustainable solution land management, but it was also described as the most important innovation in agriculture and the next step in sustainable and resilient agriculture. So there are many descriptions. So I hope that today we will know why such descriptions are proper to this practice. But let's start from the formal definition. The simplest definition describe agroforestry as agriculture with trees. This term was, for the first time, was used in 1973 by Canadian forester, but this practice is known for thousands of years. More formally, agroforestry is described as a land use system in which trees are grown in combination with agriculture on the same land. The another definition is that it's intentional integration of woody perennial, such as trees or shrubs with crops or livestock, also with the same land management unit. And also agroforestry is described as the practice of deliberately integration of woody vegetations with crops or animal system to benefit the resulting ecological and economic interactions. There are also two other definitions, but all of them stress that agroforestry is not natural system. Here's also human interventions. So people are integrated part of agroforestry system. From historical perspective, as I told before, this term was used sometime for the first time sometimes ago. However, in 2000, in this time, there was also establishment of the International Council for Research in Agroforestry. So there were more formal institutions which focus on this practice. Later, it was a World Agroforestry Organization has also been formed, and European Agroforestry Federation. Polish Agroforestry Association was founded in 2015, so 10 years ago. And 4 years ago, the International Union of Agroforestry. Generally, when we would like to make some classification of agroforestry system, there are many categories, but generally, three main include silvopastoral systems, which consist of combination of trees with livestock grazing, and silvo-arable systems, which combine trees and shrubs intercropped with annual or perennial crops, and also agro-silvopastoral system, which include all those elements together. Other categories are also high-value trees, like fruit orchards, olive groves, or nut trees. They can be part also or available of livestock agroforestry. Other categories include also forest farming, hedgerows, windbreaks, and riparian buffer strips, which are line of natural or planted perennial vegetation, which border croplands or pastures to protect livestock crops, but also soil and water quality. But agroforestry includes also home gardens or kitchen gardens. So the scale is also quite large, from bigger to lower areas of those kind of ecosystem. Now let's have a look on global distribution of agroforestry. Oh, now I have this one. Those maps show percent of tree cover on agriculture land. So as we can see, let's have a look. Oh, no, yes, I forgot this. Let's have a look on this blue strzałki. arrows, yes, let's have a look on the blue arrow. So we can see here this location on the globe where tree cover is the highest on the agriculture land. So when tree cover is more than 45% of the area, so which is really very high contribution. So we can see in Central America, we can see it also in Chile, in Asia, but also here in central part of Africa. So, however, here, as we can see, Europe, participation of tree cover in agricultural land is in range between 10 and 30%. It's also similar here. And there are also some locations which are also included into agroforestry system, although the contribution of tree cover is not so big, it's less than 10% here. Agroforestry system have a lot of environmental, economic, and social benefits. However, it also creates very beautiful landscape. And as we saw before on this map, agroforestry system are distributed on on all continents, on different regions of our globe. And that's why it also creates different landscapes. We can see here some examples from Italy, olive trees intercropped with wheat, from Germany, cherry trees intercropped with fodder beet. Also, the HESA system in Spain, which is dominated by oak trees. In Italy, walnut tree intercropped with vegetables, but also poplar trees intercropped with wheat. And here, Italy and Greece, also oak trees, similar to Spain. However, the landscape is quite different. And here also, Germany. So biodiversity is not only included in, when we think about biodiversity, it can be also included to different kind of landscape in the context of regional diversification. Especially what would be interesting and maybe exotic for us are examples from agroforestry system in Africa, from Ethiopia, from Kenya, from Rwanda, where acacia trees grow together and fruit trees, and also acacias can also grow together with cereal fields. So generally, we can see a lot of different interesting landscapes. which are created by agroforestry system depend on the region. Also here I would like to show some examples of silvopastoral system in West Africa, in USA, but also Spain in the Dehesa, and here also the Dehesa with pigs and with cows. So the idea is that crops or livestock are on the same unit of land. When we think about agroforestry in Poland, I think this is traditional landscape, which maybe we remember because it's not so common like it was before. However, according to European Agroforestry Federation, agroforestry is not recognized by agriculture producers or decision makers. So there is still a lot to do to improve knowledge, and education in this area is very important. And the extent of agroforestry exactly is also not known. Generally, there are some estimation on country level, on European level. However, we don't have exactly information about agroforestry system in Poland, but it also changed because Polish farmer can receive support, European Union subsidies for establishing agroforestry systems. So when they want to introduce windbreaks or establish agroforestry system, additional trees on the farm, there is possibility to receive support from European Union, although there are also some different conditions that they should include during preparation of such kind of activity. However, we can also hear wind protection strips, which was more common before. Maybe some of you remember that it was really very common some times ago. Later, the trees were cut, and now its role is still increasing, especially in the context of climate change. And what is more common, midfield remisy, so it's some kind of tree in the middle of the field, for example. Now let's focus on European Union. There are different estimations. I try to find some estimation which will describe how many agroforestry area is included in European Union country, and the estimation are really very different. Generally, here we can see 4 maps. First, include arable agroforestry, livestock agroforestry, high tree value agroforestry, for example, tree orchards, and all agroforestry together. Estimations show, one of them estimations show that 48% of all agricultural land has at least 10% of tree cover in agriculture land. The another estimation told that total area under agroforestry is more than 15 million hectares, and it's equivalent to almost 9% of the utilized agriculture area. And the dominant is livestock agroforestry. But here we have more than 1 million of hectare high value tree agroforestry and also arable agroforestry. When we would like to analyze the countries, the first position is Spain. Here you can see, where agroforestry cover more than 500 million hectares. Next, Greece, France, but the difference is very, very big. Greece, France, Italy, Portugal, Romania, and also Bulgaria. So agroforestry system is distributed in between European countries, and since first position is for Spain, so I would like to shortly describe the Dehesa agro-silvopastoral system. And according to our estimation, it covers more than 2 million hectares of agriculture area. This system In Spain, it's called Dehesa. In Portugal, it's called Montado. It's one of the best preserved low-intensity farming system in Europe, but it's also very old system. It's located here, and here we can see photos. How does it look? Maybe sometimes you go to Spain for holiday when we land, and we can see view from the plane. There are a lot of single trees in Spain, and the landscape is quite different when we come back to Poland or when we start in Poland. So agroforest system is really visible, even when we but maybe we didn't focus on that. However, it's really visible for normal people. It's not common in some special areas. It's generally common. And generally the HESA system is very old. However, it's very old, and because it's interesting and it's very large, it also is under study of many scientists from all people from the whole world. And we also, I also have cooperation with Instytut Forest Research Group from Universitat Extremadura from Plasencia. It's partner of our relief project. And last month, I have opportunity to spend 6 weeks on internship in Spanish in Plasencia. So for us, for me, especially for me as a leader of the project, it was very fruitful and important experience because we can learn from the best. Spanish is on the first position because of agroforestry research area, but also it's under interest of many scientists from whole world, and the University of Extremadura really has a lot of cooperation. It was really, for me, it's a really pleasure to cooperate with scientists from this university, but also they are open for sharing knowledge. So for me, it's very good beginning to introduce such kind of experiment in Polish condition, because I have very famous teachers and which are very open to share knowledge. So generally, Mahadas, it's close to Plasencia. It's very big experimental station. It's located on the farm. However, it's experimental station. And here I participate in conducting some experiment on soil and greenhouse gases exchange. As Professor Nasalewicz said, I am in my research study, I am focused on soil and greenhouse gases exchange between soil and atmosphere on different soils, not only arable, but also grasslands, but also forests, but also pastures. And last time we also included agroforestry system into our experiment. And I'm sure that cooperation between our institute and in the HESA Forest Group, which is really very strong and very known in scientific environment, it was very beneficial, and it helped improve our measurements. There are also 3 main tower stations. It's a decovariant method, another method to measure greenhouse gases exchange. So those group is also focused on the similar topic than we are. However, they also include measurements of different parameters of vegetation, trees, which is we don't do it. However, it's another kind of topic. So let's come back to agro. Maybe come back here. So I think that's why I would like to mention about my cooperation with the HESA Forest Group, because I think that we should be open for cooperation. Yes, because when we have partner in project, it don't have to be just partner during the project, but also it can be very beneficial and very nice cooperation after project. because we can exchange our knowledge, and there is opportunity to visit our institutions and not to be afraid, just go and learn how much you can. So let's come back to benefits of agroforestry. Generally, as I mentioned before, we can divide it into economic, environmental, and social benefits. Agroforestry is important. That's why it's also mentioned in European Union policies and strategies, the European Green Deal, Farm to Fork strategy, and biodiversity strategy because of these many functions. Let's start from socio-economic benefits of agroforestry. So first is the provision of food and income from trees, crops, and livestock. But implementation of agroforestry on farm can also into increased agriculture productivity because combination of trees and crop system can lead to more efficient capture of resources such as solar radiation or water, and than separated tree or crop system. Trees regulate soil moisture, reduce soil erosion, and contribute to better crop growth. Moreover, another benefit is reduced need for fertilizer or pesticides as agroforestry system improves soil fertility. For farmers, it's also important that they have the diversification of farm products. Agroforestry system provides farmer a diverse range of income sources like timber, fruits, nuts, fodder, and also this system stimulates local economy, create additional place of work, and also provide recreational opportunities, enhance the diversity and attractiveness of the landscape, as we also saw on previous photos. Of course, for us, more important are environmental benefits. When we analyze how tree on agricultural land change soil conditions, it's important to notice that tree roots range is usually higher than canopy. So sometimes the factors that work below ground are not so visible. They work stronger than those above ground, like above ground biomass canopy of the trees. So generally trees create microclimates with lower mean air temperatures, reduced crop transpiration rates by shading crops, but also draw water from deeper soil layers and support root water uptake by crops, and minimize soil loss during heavy rainfall and stream flood events, and create also wind breaks. So the effects of trees on soil condition results in improvement of soil health, which include soil fertility improvement, soil physical condition improvement, also carbon sequestration, buffering of pollutants, ecosystem function improvements, soil erosion and degradation reduction, soil microflora and fauna, and greenhouse gases reduction, efficient nutrient cycling, organic matter and nutrient, increase in organic matter and nutrient, but also environment, we would like to summarize it, also environmental sustainability. Besides effect on soil health, agroforestry systems are also beneficial for animal welfare because trees provide shelter from wind, cold, and rain, and especially shade from the sun, which is especially important in hot climates, like in the Hesa in Spain, where I saw, this is my photo, so here it was visible that animals prefer spend time in shade under trees. And it's important when we analyze how animals change soil conditions, because in our country, animals spend more time outside trees. In the Hessau, generally in hot climate, they spend more time under trees. And it's really visible when we compare these results of the soil parameters and results of the environmental measurements. So although we are focused on soil, aspect of animals and livestock is also very important when we analyze our results. And the another benefits, environmental benefits, is climate change mitigation and adaptation, which is especially important for us. So that's why agroforestry is described as climate smart technique, and climate change mitigation potential is expressed as increased carbon sequestration, reduced greenhouse gases emission, as I also told before, and generally enhanced soil health. When we talk about adaptation to climate change, we should mention about microclimate regulation, soil fertility improvement, biodiversity conservation, enhanced water retention, reduced sensitivity to drought, and also improved food security. When we talk about climate resilience, it's good to mention about that agroforestry system can withstand extreme weather events, and also microclimate regulation, which reduces temperature extremes and supports crop productivity. As in our department, we are focused on greenhouse gases. I just would like to show examples of mechanics, how tree can influence on soil greenhouse gases fluxes. The most important greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. And of course, when we have tree, we have also litter. So litter input regulate organic matter in soil, but also organic carbon availability for microorganisms. And what is also important, root system in soil create different conditions for soil microorganism activity through changing hydrological conditions, but also soil aeration. Generally, litter input result in enhanced soil microbial respiration and also in long-term carbon sequestration. Trees also change microclimate, lower soil temperature and evaporation, which in consequence result in lower CO2 emission. When we talk about methane, it's important to mention that root system especially is important in this context because it changes aeration condition. And oxygen availability is a very important factor which determines methane processes in soil. Once under anaerobic condition, for example, when soil is flooded or under saturation condition, we may observe methanogenesis process which result in methane emission. However, when soil is aerated, for example, because of root system of trees, we may observe a positive process of methanotrophy. So methane is oxidized by methanotrophic bacteria, which show its mitigation potential. So tree especially influence on methane flux through changing soil condition in soil condition in the context of aeration and hydrology, because the same factor influence on methane processes which are quite contrast, oxidation on production. Okay, the next very important greenhouse gas is nitrous oxide. It's especially important because of nitrogen fertilization of soil. So generally, and nitrogen-rich litter stimulate nitrification and denitrification, which result in N2O emission. Here is also important to mention about root system of trees because they, as I said before, determine soil aeration, and aeration influence not only on methane but also N2O emission. So I think let's go. Okay, so now let's mention about which regions have the greatest or the largest potential of carbon sequestration. There is just map which shows simulation how will change carbon sequestration when tree cover will increase in 10%. So we may see that potential of carbon sequestration increasing depends on the region. It's included with different type of soil, with different vegetation, because that's why I wanted to show different landscape of agroforestry system before. So the darkest regions here suggest the largest potential of carbon sequestration. Yes. And when we compare carbon sequestration, potential of carbon sequestration between different land, agroforestry is really high when compared to cropland or rice management and forest management. That's why it's included in many European Union strategies, and that's why its implementation is recommended. The another function of agroforestry system is prevention of erosion, soil erosion, which is one of the main threats and actual problem. Trees prevent soil erosion by stabilization of soil with their roots, but also intercepting rainfall with their canopies and enhancing groundwater cover with litter and understory vegetation. We can see that average erosion per country is also different between the regions. Here is per country. Green mean the lowest, red mean the brown. Maybe it's not red, it's brown. It's the highest. China, of course, is dominant here. So generally, we can see not only diversification between potential of carbon sequestration, but also between the threats, like soil erosion. That's why implementation of the system needs some adaptation to local condition. When we look how presence of tree of a little layer change splash, we may observe that here without litter, splash erosion increase, but by even 12 times compared to the presence of litter layer on the ground. Here, that's why, because trees enhance biodiversity, but also improve soil structure and prevent soil erosion. Now we can see some examples of beautiful lake landscape, orchard terrace in Spain. Okay. Here I'd like to mention about generally degradation of the soil. Generally, it's a map which show different levels of degradation. Green mean no degradation, and here is also Poland. But here we have also different levels of degradation, is 20 to 80%. So we can also see some differences between countries, between regions, which still improve statement that implementation of agroforestry system should include local condition and to improve biodiversity. Now a little bit about our experience. So generally in the relief project, which finished this year, during one growing season in 2023, we conducted field measurements on the pasture, where we checked how trees change greenhouse gases fluxes. The measurements were made on farm close to Łęczna, so in our region, so we come back to our condition. Generally, when I would like to summarize the range, tree present didn't influence on CO2 fluxes, the ranges on CO2 fluxes. However, it influenced on methane and N2O fluxes. Blue color means control without any intervention. Here, this orange color indicate open grazed area, and the last one, the gray one, it's grazed area under trees. So we can see that most of value in the case of methane is below 0, which suggests that methane was mainly oxidized. However, here in open area, we mainly observe methane emission. Those results are, the publication with those results is ready. It will be submitted this year. So in this moment, I will not show a lot of this detail, but generally, I can say that one of the main factors that influence on greenhouse gases fluxes, especially methane and N2O, was soil bulk density, which similarly to tree roots create different aeration level. Oh, sorry. Okay, so coś tu zepsuł. A, 2 razy chyba. No. Okay, so now have a look on the N2O fluxes. We can also observe positive effect of trees on grass because the emission was lower due to tree present. It was connected with trees absence, but also nitrogen content in soil. Here I will also show some results about correlations. So this is the list of parameters that we measure. So it was soil moisture, pH, nitrogen content, microbial biomass, dehydrogenase activity, but also below and above ground biomass. I will not focus on that because it's a big topic. However, additionally, we also make some microbial analysis to assess how those practices change influence on methanoeutrophic bacteria community. Okay, so now I would like just to mention about the current project, which acronym is HOLOS EU. And here we continue measurements on the same pasture. However, the previous one were just preliminary. It was very short, just once a month and during one growing season. Now the work is more intensive and we include trees and grazing effects, also control without any management, grazing effect, but also periodically water logging effect, because there is some place on this pasture where water level sometimes is higher and we observe different properties of soils. Here, this is chamber. We use chamber methods, which is common method to check how greenhouse gases fluxes change above the soil, and our field analyzer. No, this one. In our experiment, in HOLOS EU project, we also include how tree change greenhouse gases fluxes on arable fields. So this is first location, and this is the second location. Here we can see some colors of the chambers. And in our experiment, we also include fertilization effect. Here we can see experimental variants. We have control, we have fertilized trees without trees, but we also evaluate trees effect without fertilizer and with fertilizers. And those work are implemented during the project realization, HOLOS EU project, the Relief project, and I also would like to mention about the biodiversity campaign. About one of the aspects included here also is related to soil erosion. Thank you very much. I don't have watch. I don't know what is the time. Sorry, but
That's good. Thank you very much for interesting lecture, for introducing us with mitigation ways to combat negative effects of climate change on our environment. Do we have any comments, questions? Professor Zdunek?
Thank you for your lecture. I just want to ask you about your opinion and verification of my impression that agroforestry and this is can be kind of alternative for this what we observed many years ago, cutting the trees and transforming this to agriculture, right? Because we wanted to have more and more land to plant. So how it is considered now in Europe, this process? Does it help to protect biodiversity, and does it help to back to I would say, is it in line in regenerative agriculture?
Generally, we come back to that situation which was before. However, now we observe environment degradation, we observe climate change effects. So agroforestry in European Union is categorized as a practice which improve soil biodiversity, but also prevent climate change effects like wind. That's why it's recommended to create windbreak strips, for example, and that's why it's included in main strategies of European Union, like biodiversity strategy, from farm to fork strategies, and European Green Deal. Agroforestry is mentioned everywhere, and farmers receive subsidies for implementation of agroforestry. So now it's recommended to come back to that what was before. I don't know if it was.
I just remember when I was young, and this discussion about climate and cutting the trees in Brazil was on the top. I remember Sting, the singer, right? Was really into preservation of the
yes, he was very
trees.
engaged. Yes,
yes, he was very engaged, singing songs and so on. So maybe this is kind of new opportunity to Brazilian agriculture to use the.
Now this problem is everywhere, not only in Brasilia. Yes, however, climate change effects touch different regions, and agroforestry is recommendation that may be helpful, and that's why it also described as innovation in agriculture due to a lot of due to benefits on different levels, from biodiversity in soil, however, also effects of climate change, prevention of climate change effects. From our experience shows that trees on pasture really change greenhouse gases, improve balance of greenhouse gases, fluxes, and soil which was source of methane, oxidized methane under tree. Soil which was source of N2O is lower source of N2O under trees.
Okay, any other comments? Maybe a short one from me, because we are slightly delayed. Is you said that this is somehow regulated, but how it is regulated in the context of, let's say, kind of trees? You saw examples like something like orchard. What kind of trees? And
generally there are
think about it in terms of the subsidies and direct funds for farmers? Is it
Generally, there are exact recommendation. How many? I'm not sure. Probably 100,000 per hectares, 100 trees per hectares. I'm not sure. There are in Agencja Restrukturyzacji and Modernizacji Rolnictwa. I don't know how to say it in English. They have exact recommendation what farmers should do to receive subsidies. How many trees should grow, what kind of trees. There are really recommendation depending what is the aim. So not only orchard, but also trees on the pasture, for example.
also this Sama, please, you have the question, comment?
Good morning. Okay, thank you for your presentation.